Pabbay climbers, boy James Cobby.
Got the idea for the Pabbay trip just from reading a UKC article on the kind of 5 top E1s, 5 top E2s, 5 top E3s in the country. There was one route on the E2s called Prophecy of Drowning. Thought the route looked awesome, really exposed, massive big sea cliff, great natural feature of this huge arch spanning a 100-metre high wall. First impression of the Great Arch, boys?
Fucking amazing.
Found it was an uninhabited island in the Outer Hebrides. You have to drive to Oban in Scotland. You then have to get a 4-hour ferry over to the island of Barra in the Outer Hebrides. From there, we had to kind of charter a local kind of fisherman type dude, Francis, with the boy James boat. So in this trip, it was really important to pick a good team. Went over there with Matt, Elle, Tom, Trev and Callum. Myself and Callum, we kind of wanted to just try and push into those mid to high E grades, but the team was pretty diverse. For all of us, we had different grades that we were working at, but everyone was there to just experience these awesome sea cliffs and everything that comes with climbing those sea cliffs. Bird life, seals, exposure.
Oh my God.
The rock is nice. It's quite featured in terms of it's got lots of rounded kind of juggy holds, not a lot of crimping. It does tend to be pretty steep around there, so there are a few slabs, but a lot of it is face climbing, a lot of it is slightly overhung. Gear placements are amazing and fairly safe, but it does lead to kind of obviously pumpy climbing. So after 3 really good days when we first arrived on the island, we managed to get out a lot, get a lot of stuff done. We decided that after 3 solid days we were going to have a bit of a chill out. Callum, how was that pitch?
Interesting.
Me and Callum probably had a few too many drams the night before. Pretty early into that rest day, we had just this random dude turn up at our tent. He wasn't from the other team of climbers, and he brought completely contradictory weather forecast and news. There was going to be bad weather, really bad the next day, and probably bad for the next week. Kind of scared that I was going to now miss out on my goal route that I'd been working towards for a couple of months. Set me into motion to kind of get my act together and convince Callum to come out with me and wrap down and go for it.
A little bit steep this wall.
So it was now the day that we were going for the big sends.
Hopefully.
But knew it could be my only shot to do the Ancient Mariner. Ended up on site in it, and we topped out in the dry, which was nice. One of the real drawbacks of the new information on the weather was it was a case of you either stay on the island for the next week or you leave that day.
The first 2 to be evicted from the island.
We had to say a pretty rushed goodbye to Tom and Trev. All of us were kind of using all the experience that we gained over a number of years to kind of make this trip happen where help isn't readily on hand. We thought the weather might be an issue.
So we thought we'd have a go on a top rope in probably the worst conditions yet on the island. It's been pretty grim.
We thought tour guy Francis, the boatman, he might give us kind of forecast on the fly if we kept the radio on.
I thought so.
But the seas were rough. We didn't get forecasts. We couldn't get them. That was kind of one of the main difficulties we encountered.
We're trying to think what might be dry.
What walls might be super exposed to the 40-mile-an-hour winds we had, whether we had time to abseil in and get a route done, or whether the showers that we were getting were going to continue all through the day and we'd get stuck on a hard route in the rain. But after those first few days, we kind of got into the not knowing. If we got some climbing done, then that was awesome. Matt and Elle went coast-steering. There was kind of one last climb that Callum had his eye on at a crag we hadn't been to in the Bay Area, an E5 there, the Hebridean. It looked brilliant. In that kind of gearing up phase, the rain started coming down and pretty much every other route was streaming, apart from the Hebridean. It was supposed to be an easy top out. which was very, very wet, but the kind of meat of the route looked pretty dry. The midges were pretty bad at the bottom too. You know, I was in my full midge net contemplating how I was going to get through this potentially quite long belay. Callum did the route in great style. Ended up second in the route, meeting Cal to find him buff up to his forehead and helmet pulled down and belaying semi-blind. He was being eaten pretty badly, but I think that just added to the full Scottish experience of topping out in stream and waterfall. So yeah, fitting an end to the trip.
I think I can see Orion.
Yeah, all in all, Pabbay is a great place to go climb. You shouldn't think of Pabbay as a completely out there, super out there climbing destination. There are those committed multis, but there's also a lot there for people who aren't climbing E2+. So if you want to go and have a great time on an uninhabited island with your friends, if you don't mind the downtime or you can enjoy those other things aside from climbing, then it's a brilliant, brilliant spot to go to.
Francis had a boat and he took us all afloat to the island of Pabbay. Just the other day, oh, Francis had a boat and he took us all afloat to the island of Pabbay. The Francis round the Cape, no it fucking ain't. Is that Francis round the Cape? No it fucking ain't. Is that Francis round the Cape? No it fucking ain't. It's every fishman and his mate. Francis had a boat and he took us all afloat to the island of Pabbay. Just the other day, oh, Francis had a boat and he took us all afloat to the island of Pabbay.